Pay your people better. August 17th, 2026. Yeah, get in there. So I'm back from Iceland. I didn't get to see the eclipse because it continues to elude me. It was overcast yet again. And the craziest thing was there was only 2 days in the time that I was there that it was overcast. About 48 hours roughly. Like later into Tuesday evening, it started getting more and more overcast. Wednesday, it was just raining. It was constantly overcast. The day after, it was pretty much overcast until I could remember or whatever. And then Friday, not only was it just like bright and sunshine, it was also like windy as fuck. Stayed in Reykjavík for the majority of it. I was, I got a tour to the Golden Circle on the day after, just in case it was overcast and it decided to fuck with me again. Bought some goodies. I got this chunky granola, brownie cookie dough, granola. Already had some. Tastes pretty good on its own. Kind of mild in its general, like nothing really truly stands out. Everything kind of comes and goes. Not a lot of sugar in it. I still can't understand Icelandic. I can read it. I can kind of speak it. Like the general ruling, I would say I know about like 90% of the general rules when it comes to overall speakage, if you will. But in order for me to like get it, I have to like basically sit, like I can't just sit there and start reading it. I'm like maybe 50% okay at that, 50%. Ginnen Vendelig. There's nothing in there that tells me that any of those letters or consonants, any of those letters have any adjustments, whether they be consonants or vowels. However, I have one in here with a double L, so it should be more like embettlage. Not sure if that's actually accurate. Because the TL. So one thing I learned about the TL so when you see a double L, like Thingvellir, it looks like Thingvellir. Thingvellir. So what I learned while I was there, because I hadn't seen it otherwise, nobody really told me how to do it. I was close in figuring it out myself, just trying to like understand the mouth structure of the language. But like the easiest way to do the TL sound, so like Eyjafjalla Jökull, Eyjafjalla. So what you do with that double TL, because there's two of them in Eyjafjalla Jökull, is you put the tip of your tongue up on the roof of your mouth and then breathe out the sides, like you're trying to spit. So what is it? Glacier is Jökull. It's J-O with a diacritic, K-U-L-L. So it looks like it says Jökull, or Juckle, or Jockle. We used to call it Jockle Hops or Yockle Hops, I think, at one point, when we were playing Magic the Gathering. And you would take the S off, and it would be largely correct. You'd add one more L, and it would be Jökull Hop. Actually, it could be, sorry. One thing I've learned, just kind of like getting the general, like, and this is one of the reasons why I was trying to find a lot of different content online that, was a lot of Icelandic content, was trying to just kind of, immerse myself in some way or another. And so, like, there's a specific artist, her name is Levi, but it's spelled Laufey, kind of like how they spell it in the God of War series, the new one, the 2018 Ragnarok. It's Laufey. But there are some times, and I still don't know the rules, there are sometimes when an F turns into a V. And sometimes vowels become almost, instead of becoming a diphthong where it's two of them being pronounced, it's kind of like a monophthong where it's one. And it changes up so much. So like, in the word jockelhops, or jockelhop, it may not be hop, it may not be hop, it may more like be hut. Which is interesting, because I don't know if that's true. So if it were true, it would be Jökull hut. Hut. Something like that. Jökull hut. Which kind of sounds a little bit more Icelandic. Because when you start hearing Icelandic people, especially when you don't know the language, it's like, this is very much a foreign language. But the cool thing is that there is a lot of overlap when it comes to just general, like, function of the letters. Now, they have like 32. So they don't have C, or Q, or W, or Z. But then they do have, not only do they have all the typical vowels, they have a long vowel. So A has a long A, then there's a long E, and a long I, and a long O, and a long U, right? And a long Y. Now granted, I and Y are exactly the same. Short I, short Y, same thing. Long I, long Y, exact same thing. So you could get rid of the like a Y or an I, whichever one you want, and just keep the other, and it would be fine. And if you really wanted to go crazy, just keep the Y and get rid of the I's. Like even my host for we had a guided walking food tour on Tuesday, and I had asked him, he's like, it drives me up the wall. I don't know why we have it that way. It doesn't make any sense. Like, that was the first time I felt him get passionate about something that wasn't part of like the tour. It was fascinating. I wish I'd been able to have more time, but it was like at the end of our tour. It was like the last place we were at. So I have this. Okay, this would be pronounced bio, because it's a long I, which is an E, and a long O, which is O. So O is relatively simple. Relatively simple. Okay? Until you get to this motherfucker. That O doesn't exist in English language. Okay? It's kind of like an OS sound. When I was watching the video from Dr. Jackson Crawford about it, and you know, like using it over and over and over again, I'd go back to it, and it's like, ooey, ooey, is kind of how it works. Smir is, because it's all very much in the front of your mouth. Whereas O, on, like fool's more frontal, that's more U related. U's are also very different because like they don't have the sound for the most part because it's too close to a schwa, and they don't have any schwas. They pronounce all of the vowels, like all the A's are ah. They are not you know, lemon, which is an EN. It would, if they were to pronounce it that way, their way, it would be lemon, or actually lemon. Lemon would be how they would actually pronounce it, not the way we do. It's basically like, I mean, it is specifically corn puff balls. Yeah, chocolate coated corn puffs. It reminds me, but not specifically, of malted milk balls. It doesn't have that like chewiness that a malted milk ball has. It's more crunchy, but it's like a light crunch. It would be like if you took Kix and, you know, like when they were good, and threw some chocolate on them. Pretty good. Rugbrauð. or it could be brød, rugbrød, which probably is correct because of the AU being more kind of like a weird transition into an E. So I had this with what is known as skyr, which is their sort of yogurt / cheese type thing. People kept calling it a cheese. It ain't nothing like a cheese. It's nothing like a fucking cheese, okay? I don't know who keeps thinking it's cheese related, other than the fact that it just has a shit ton of protein in it, because it's basically pure protein, and it actually tastes good, which is surprising, because most things that are pure protein taste like shit. But skyr is made of, to my understanding, because everything dairy out there is made from sheep. And then, of course, they killed their sheep or their sausages, like their hot dogs, which I had I thought I had 3, I only had 2, but they were still good. Very good. The snap is worth it, and what everybody else has said and all that. I didn't get any raw onions because I don't like raw onions, and I'm not going to do that even in a foreign country. There's no point. I haven't had this fish. It smells of fish. It smells better now. Because, it's been stinking up my bags. Stink up some of my clothes a little bit. Okay, it's basically just straight up fish. And it tastes like fish. Not something I would normally eat. Not terrible. I will eat it all though. Just have to figure out how. It's very dry though. So I'll get my smart water bottle that I bought on my way to Iceland. But I knew going ahead. You see, consuming just straight fish isn't really a thing that I do. I like fish. Dehydrated fish is a bit meh. Not ideal. Anyway. I might blend it up or something, make it into an umami powder of some kind, because it's definitely got a lot of umami in it. Yeah, so Iceland is known for their water, so I bought one of these so that I had a water bottle of some kind. I wanted to get a Perrier bottle or something, but I couldn't find Perrier for shit. I now enjoy club soda. It's very strange. I'll drink LaCroix, no problem. I'll drink store brand LaCroix, whatever. I try not to buy the ones okay. And I think I've already mentioned it in another video, but who cares? So this says sparkling water, but it's basically diet soda because it has a sweetener in it. Now, the sweetener in this one is... Hold on. Aspartame. It also has a few other potential sweetener options, which I'm not sure of. But the thing is I don't want to drink sparkling water when I want to drink sparkling water if it has some kind of sweetener in it. I just want to consume the sparkling water for the sake of consuming the sparkling water. I don't want to drink tonic water, though. Tonic water is not that great. Again, these are really good. Oh yeah, I forgot. I already threw it away, but I can put it back out. I got a couple other things, too, that I had with me. So these were great. The crown bars. Admittedly, they look like a giant turd, but they're delicious. They have wafers. They're like a giant wafer bar, so Nutty Buddies in a way, covered in chocolate. And then they have Rice Krispies on the outside, which is all covered in chocolate. Extremely good, very crunchy, very light. Then you have the Prince Pollo, Pensacola, rather. Pensacola, away from candy bar. More of a dark chocolate-esque, whereas the Crown is more of a milk chocolate. These are sold at the Byron's Bestu Pilser, which is the hot dog stand. That is one of the only places, by the way, that you will see the Z, because the original one, especially the one that's in downtown, because there's another one that's inside of what they call a 10-11, which is a convenience store. It's kind of like 7-Eleven, and they have a hot dog. They have a hot dog spot in the one that's like further east of downtown, in like another sort of like busy area type situation. It's an Oak King. This was interesting because it kind of reminded me of. So there was another one that I had, and I can't remember what it was called. But I had another oat bar type situation. It was very much like a granola bar, but it was similar to like those chewy Quaker Oats bars, but like a little more dense, so it like didn't just fall apart, and it wasn't like sickeningly sweet like those are. This one was kind of similar, however, it was even thicker. It was a little fatter, like it was a thick boy. And the oatmeal felt a little bit more processed, almost like you had actually, like it had been cooked first and then put into the bar, which was weird because it also kind of, I don't know exactly how to put it, how to describe it, but it wasn't bad. And I was like, this reminds me of like actually eating oatmeal, but like better. And I'm like, that's how I could have been eating oatmeal most of my life. I think I've realized that I should probably eat oatmeal in a savory format, not in a sweet format. I don't mind like oatmeal and like peanut butter oatmeal cookies type of situation. That one's fine. But like making cooked oatmeal, I should probably go savory. I've never tried it. So I'm going to try it at some point. I don't know when. Because right now I'm like, I don't even want to fucking clean anymore. Like I get here and like I still feel like the same way as I used to. Whereas out there, like I felt like going for a walk felt like a good idea. It was nice and chilly. Like I could wear my jacket or not, depending on the day. Like it was generally just humid enough for me. Like the weather was rather appealing for the summertime. Anyway, I'm not sure if like I could deal so much with the cold, but I don't know. I think. Well, I know I want to go back, and I think the best thing for me to do would be to go back during the winter. For one, to potentially see the aurora, because again, I didn't see shit. I did see a meteor when I stuck my head out the window of the airplane heading there. That was cool, just like, the Perseids were going on around that time. Sadly, we didn't have any real darkness to actually witness because the clouds were in the fucking way. But I had some scare with this Saturday morning before I left. I was basically eating human paste. I don't mean paste made of humans, but paste made for humans to consume. Like, this is some dense stuff. I mean, it's rye bread, but it's also, like, on the sweeter side. Good sort of morning bread, but, like, with coffee. But also, you can use this with pluckfisker. Pluckfisker is basically like mashed potatoes and mashed fish together. You can throw in a little butter and some other things too if you need to, you know, however you need to make it. But those are the two main ingredients. You have like just like a simple, like a cod or a halibut or whatever you can get your hands on. Like a simple cheap fish, potatoes, because again, this is a staple food type situation. Throw in a little butter or whatever. But the one I had at I had it at Reykjavík Fish in downtown, right next to like the Rainbow Road. There's a little rainbow road that you can walk down. The number of rainbows that I saw in Reykjavik made me feel good. Like, I am not a member of the QIA plus crew. I do my best to be an ally, to be an advocate for the people who deal with, you know, our societal bullshit when it comes to being queer or gay or lesbian, etc., or transgender. But like the fact that there weren't, it's not like the pride flags went down in July like it does out here. You see a lot of pride flags, even in LA. Like, you'll see more pride flags in June than any other time, but it's almost like they all just disappeared. And I didn't see that there. I saw a lot of rainbow flags in a lot of places. And I'm like, okay, score one for Reykjavík. That's good news. It's good shit. But I was at the Reykjavík Fish, and they had like a whole slice of rye bread. Their rye bread is not the dry, hard rye bread that I've seen in the past. It's more of a moist kind. This one seemed like it may have had like a little bit of time on the stovetop just to kind of crisp it up a bit, which would be a good idea, especially with this stuff. And then it had like a little, so like there's a specific butter that comes out of Reykjavik, or out of Iceland, which is smjör. It's a sheep's butter, and it's pretty good. Like, I've never had a problem with like sheep cheese or sheep milk or whatever. And so their specific butter, there is a brand. I don't know if it's actually a brand or if it's just like, I'll have to look into it. But smjör, like, it was a little package that they gave me, and I just took it and slapped it on top of the rye bread. And then what I did was I spread it across the rye bread to the best of my ability to kind of let some of the heat do its work, because it was sitting in a tiny little cast iron skillet. Like, I touched it barely, and I was like, ooh, that hurts. Let's put that in the mouth, cool off a bit real quick, so I don't get any like permanent or reasonable damage. And so then what I did was I just used a spoon, because I figured, why the hell not? There doesn't seem to be any reason to use anything else other than a spoon. So I took a bit of the rye bread with butter into the plukfiskar, and then also made sure to get some of the crispy bits on the edge into the first bite. And that shit was fucking gold, man. Like, it's a $30 dish. And it didn't last that long, because I was hungry, and nothing there was cheap. But holy shit, it was a sick-ass bite, and I had a number of those. I didn't even season any of my food. Like, I seasoned, say for one time. But for the most part, whenever I ate stuff there, I didn't season it with anything, because I just wanted to try to raw dog it and see what was going on. So there was a bakery that was like right down the street from where I was at. It's like the oldest bakery in Reykjavik, which is cool. I had kleina, which is kind of like a little donut, which is really interesting. It's like if you took two pieces of dough, put them next to each other, and then kind of like did a twist, an opposite twist, kind of like how you do with candies. Actually, they usually do it that way. You can spin them out. Well, anyway, but you kind of do it a quick opposite twist, and then fry it up like that. And so it kind of has this little rune-looking shape to it, which is really cool. But it was like a donut, but a little more crispy than a typical donut. And I think just because it's so small, like there's more surface area overall, but also because the general nature of like the two tubes that are then moved, mushed together, kind of create this generally like small cross section. And so the outside cooks faster than your typical donut situation would. It was great. It was delicious. Croissant, normal ass croissant, it was good too. There was this place, it was a Portuguese custard tart place called Nata, or Nata, I don't know how it's actually pronounced. Nata, all caps. Super good at two of them. The pastry crust was like a croissant pastry. It was laminated. Because when I bit into it, it started crumbling, and I was like, this is good shit. Had coffee with both of them when I went, because I was like, fucking why not? I don't give a shit. I'm blowing, I was expecting to spend close to $2,000 to $3,000. Like, I was expecting to spend at least $2,000 while I was there. I didn't. I spent about, including for the events and stuff that I paid for prior to actually going, I spent about $1,500, which was actually pretty good, considering that, like, that's only slightly more than, like, the airplane and the lodging. Because the airplane and the lodging were each about $1,200 each. So, and then I got some, oh, well, hold on. So yeah, like, what else did I have there? Shit. I had some breakfast at the hostel, but because they were doing all the renovations, and I guess they're kind of like more on the last leg of it, I kind of missed out because they were supposed to be like selling dinners and shit, and they didn't have any. They didn't have a kitchen anymore, which is a big bummer. And so I had to kind of like make my way and find dinner at times that were less convenient. But, you know, I did what I could. Like, the first day wasn't too bad of a problem. So, actually, the first day was a problem because I didn't eat anything when I landed. I had basically nothing to eat when I went to Reykjavík for the first time. I got there at like 9. I landed at like 9:30. I didn't get onto the bus to get to Reykjavík until about 2 hours later, roughly. And then got to the hotel around noon. Which, I mean, systematically speaking, I couldn't argue against what they're doing, because they're doing a good job, okay? That said, it still took a long time. And I was very tired. And I wish there had been something. Like, I should have eaten something at the airport. That's my bad. I wasn't thinking like that because I was just tired. Because I left, like, not only did I not sleep much the night before, because not only did I do some packing and stuff and some cleaning up and whatnot, I just couldn't sleep well. And then I was only in bed for like 4 hours, had to make sure I got up. I got up what the remainder of my shit that I needed. I ended up leaving a pair of sunglasses at the Montreal airport coming back, which is unfortunate, but whatever. I can always buy some more. And these are the blue ones. The other ones were yellowish, and so they're kind of weird. But these work, so it is what it is. And if I lose these, if I misplace them, whatever, I'll just get another set. Not that I like to waste plastic or anything like that, but I pretty much brought everything that I needed to bring with me. The only thing that I was thinking that I could have brought with me, and in a way I'm kind of glad I didn't, but there were moments where I was like, it could have been good to bring my laptop. But I may do without. It's just that doing everything on the phone kind of sucks, because there's some things that I'd rather not do on the phone, just because of the general, navigational and like typing and stuff like that. But yeah, so I barely slept. I woke up at like 7, I think, to get ready, because I took a shower the night before that I left. The Sunday, last week on Sunday, and then I left here at about, I want to say 8-ish, 8:15 or so, maybe closer to 8:30. I'm not exactly sure, but somewhere in between 8 and 8:30 is when I left. Got an Uber, went all the way down to the terminal, and then he had dropped me off at like the cusp between the terminals, and I continued walking in the wrong direction, so I had to walk back to the correct terminal, because I was like where he dropped me off didn't make sense to me, because I was again kind of tired and trying to figure out where I needed to go, and I just kept walking, because that's usually how they drop people off. She's how they drop me off. So they drop me off where I can see the terminal, not where it's behind me. Now, is that my fault? Largely, but a little bit of information can go a long way. But, I go through security, and surprisingly wasn't terrible. And then the airplane doesn't leave until, because it was slightly delayed. I want to say it was like maybe delayed 20-ish minutes. But it wasn't a terrible delay, and I was able to charge my phone and just kind of chill and, you know, just like listen to stuff. I started watching Spider Noir, and I'm like halfway through the second episode, and I still haven't fucking finished it. It's a good show. I just haven't finished it because I've started so many damn things and finished none. But I was thinking, okay, while I'm on the airplane, I'll do that, whatever. I get on the airplane, and fucking Ted Lasso is available for the whole first season, and I'm like, well, that's what I'm watching. So I watched the first 8 episodes. Then I get onto the next plane. I think I had maybe a snack of some kind. I can't remember. Oh, so Air Canada is very inconsistent with some things, or at least in a way that I am unaware. On my way back, they were basically just feeding us for free. It was awesome. This one dude had like 3 chicken wraps. I don't know if he got all 3 of them for free or whatever, and the chicken wraps pretty good. On my way to Toronto, they had food. They had meal options, but you had to pay for them. I still paid for it, and it wasn't cheap. It was like $18 or something for that. Crossing over, I think we got free breakfast, but that's kind of it. Coming back, on the other hand, though, like, they were dumping things onto us, man. It was awesome. It felt like I was almost in first class, except for the fact that I had no leg room, because despite the fact that every time I kept looking at that fucking seating chart, there was always an empty spot next to me, it ended up filling up. Sucked. Fortunately, my first flight there, you know, like the shortest of the 4, basically. You know, I did have some leg room because there wasn't anybody sitting there, but coming back, full the whole way, and I'm just like, fuck. And so I'm like, if I can pull it off in 2 years going to Australia or New Zealand, I'm going to have to try for business. I'm going to have to try for the 2-seater, because fuck me, that's not enough fucking room. It's not even about the leg room. The leg room isn't enough anyway for a lot of people. It's the width. Like I'm not as wide as my shoulders are. Okay, I'm close. Let me look. Nope. Not even. Like, my shoulders are the widest part about me. And I'm just not fit for those fucking seats. I might be overweight, but I can fit in the seat, so to speak. But, like, there's just not room for my shoulders. And the fact that this motherfucker acts up all the goddamn time now, and when you're doing this for 6 hours, it fucking exacerbates the issue. It sucks, is what I'm saying, to fly like that, to fly cramped like that. Now, could I do aisle seat? Probably, but the problem is, I need to be able to look outside. I need to be able to to open that window. Because I do get a bit claustrophobic when I'm on a plane. Not much. It's not significant enough to be problematic, because again, window. Nevertheless, like, it just sucks. Sucks so hardcore. Yeah, I was hoping to bring like a smaller one of these. I didn't want to bring one of these with me. I just couldn't find a smaller one. But I mean, overall experience, like 7 out of 10. I will say some of the things that that I did, so we did what is known as Sky Lagoons. It's kind of like the Blue Lagoon, but a little different. They have a little ritual situation. The ritual has virtually no instructions. I thought it was going to be guided. Like, I wasn't sure how the whole situation even worked out. But, like, it's not very apparent what you're supposed to do first and next. And, in some cases, like, you literally have to walk in the outdoor. And I wasn't sure how that was working. And so a little bit, just a small change of, even if it's just like nice ornamental arrows or something on the floor, just to kind of give better direction, I think could make the experience a little better. Step 1, step 2, stuff like that, because it's supposed to be a 7-step thing. I didn't know what step was next, or when, or why, or where, or whatever. Because there's this one spot where you're scrubbing yourself with salt, and there's 2 ways you can go. One of them is a giant steam room, and another one is a shower. But you don't really know which one is which until you get to them, until you're actually in them. And so it's easy to accidentally skip them. And I was thinking that it was going to be more of initially I thought it was going to be kind of like a tour situation where each group of people has a host of some kind who then, talks you through it. None of that. I was the ritual aspect, while interesting, I don't see why it's a ritual because I got no information on the fact that it's a ritual. You're just telling me that it's a ritual on the website. A little bit of history, a little bit of why it is a ritual in association with Icelandic culture, things of that nature. Because apparently, the whole pools and bath situation is very much a big culture because of geothermal vents and all that stuff, and the geothermally heated water. But when you don't get any info on it, you kind of have to make it up or figure it out on your own. It's you don't want to do that when you're at basically a spa. You kind of just want to go in and mindlessly wander. I've never been in a place. First of all, I haven't been in a pool since I want to say 2016. So 10 years roughly. Because it was when I was still living in Pasadena, and I got arrested and kicked out of that apartment. And it was during the time that I was living in that apartment, the first one that I lived in, when I went to the Pasadena swimming pool, and I did a quick stroke back and forth and fucking left. But that's just the first time. Fortunately there was this group and we kind of bonded a little bit, and it's on the way there, I was kind of expressing some of my, my consternation with the fact that, I'd rather be in an individual changing room, whatever, and I ended up in a group changing room, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I come back and I'm okay, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and one of the older ladies, just probably maybe late 50s, possibly. She and I kind of clicked really well. She's sort of talking me through some of this stuff, and she's well, because I still have body dysmorphia of some kind. There's a reason, certain types of weightlifters, they have a kind of body dysmorphia because they don't see themselves as fit, and so they just keep going. It's bigorexia is the colloquial name. Let me check the timing and if it's still recording. Okay. And so, I know I'm overweight because I'm 260. But I'm also a wide dude because of the shoulders, and I'm 5'10", and I got thick fucking wrists, so I am big boned. I got them thick ass fucking ankles, because usually your ankles are the last thing to get the fucking fat to turn into cankles. I got definitive ankles, not cankles. And so while I'm not morbidly obese, I am still obese by all definitions, whether they be BMI or what have you. But here's the thing though. It's been I've always thought of myself as overweight and unattractive ever since puberty, basically. I mean, puberty fucked me up hard. And it didn't help that also a person that I shouldn't have loved, but I still did, my stepdad, died in the midst of my puberty, so that fucked my emotions up as well. And so then on top of that, having a mother who always talked shit to me, and it was just this, by your powers combined, I am body dysmorphia. And so, I'm dealing with all that shit, and I'm dealing with it through all my life. I didn't have pants that really fit properly, and I didn't know how to ask because I didn't grow up being able to learn how to ask Because if I asked questions, I got shit on. I got yelled at. Like, if there was something that I thought I needed, and I asked for it, or if I wanted it, I usually got berated. Whether it's you don't need it, whatever, this, that, or the other. It's like one of the fears that I had going into middle school was the shared bathroom changing room situation. I expressed this concern to my parents, and they fucking made fun of me. Like, a non-teenager, a prepubescent child is expressing a concern about a change in life that they've never experienced, but they've heard all these things, and instead of saying something that could be comforting, they made fun of their child. That's what I experienced. So I've always had all these weird body issues because I never had a healthy relationship with people who also, because they also had body fucking issues, at least my mother did. And so because there was no healthy relationship between me and my parents, I never learned how to have a healthy opinion of myself because they didn't have a healthy opinion of me. They hated me and they wanted me to go away. And so whenever they could, they always had a little dig at me to make me feel bad about myself, to feel bad about my emotions, about my thoughts, about my desires. It was like, if this kid is expressing hope, kill it. If this kid is expressing concern, amp it up. Also, let's just randomly talk shit about him to him or in front of him to strangers or family or whatever. They did everything in their power to make me as small as possible. So then I'm also just like this super skinny fucker who's skinny as a rail. Puberty comes in after my stepdad has died. I'm going through the process, but the physical aspect of puberty happens after I've already been kicked out of my house. I'm living in my grandmother's house, and I'm basically just eating fucking ice cream for a whole ass summer. I think I'm becoming fat, when in reality I'm not. I'm just not fitting my clothes anymore. And literally, I kid you not, for at least a couple more years, the pants that I had never buttoned up. I never buttoned them up. I always had a shirt that covered them up. I always did everything I could to cover that up. I'm sure people thought I was trying to cover up a boner. Those were happening too, obviously. But I always thought everybody was judging me. I always thought everybody was criticizing me. I thought everybody was ridiculing me, whether it was to me or behind my back. And then there were times where there were reinforcing circumstances. One of my friends in my chemistry class is like, hey, go ask that girl out. By the time I amp myself up to go do it, she tells me no as I approach her. Because she heard through the grapevine that I was attempting to do so. It's just all of these things that help beat me down as a person. I'm now 45 almost, trying to go to a fucking pool in a foreign country. Unfortunately, it's a foreign country. Nobody's going to fucking remember who I am. And I'm just well, let's fucking do it, I guess. And while it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be in my brain, I still continuously felt like eyes were on me in some way. Which is why, for the most part, I kept my head, I kept myself up to my, if I stood up, the water was at gut level, right? So I just constantly stayed, I want to say about 80% of the time, tried to stay to where it was just my head above water. Because I didn't want anybody to see the hairy ass shoulders and back that I have, or the fatness, or the whiteness, or whatever, or the moles, or the acne, or whatever the situation may be. All of these things that I worry about, I was worried everybody else was going to see them. And yeah, fortunately it helped, but at the same time, it's not like I'm seeking it out on a regular fucking basis now. So, I'm glad she was there to help alleviate my concerns and to kind of, effectively soothe me, because I never got soothing in my life. My mother never soothed me. My parents never soothed me. My grandmother kind of did, but usually just hey, come on over and, be yourself for a little bit. Instead of constantly being afraid of your parents. But yeah, generally speaking, Iceland was good. Other than the fucking eclipse thing. Which again is why I had so many other activities. Why I, made sure I had a lot of extra money. What the hell is going on here? You've been disconnected. Oh man, why are you gonna disconnect the game? Oh well, it's not like I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there doing nothing. I still have a thing. I still have like several dirty dishes, including oil that hopefully isn't rancid. Nothing bad about it. Alright, cool. I can fry some more shit in that then. I figured it shouldn't be a problem after a week, but who the fuck knows, man. It's just been sitting there in a sealed container the whole time. So it hasn't been oxidizing, which is good. Also, fortunately, it was delivered on Thursday. Are there photos from the Artemis mission 2027 calendar? Here's what I don't think people get about going to the moon. When people are on a space station or the space shuttle, they're actually shockingly close to Earth. The ISS orbits about 250 miles above sea level, which is a pretty quick road trip, except you have to drive straight up. The moon isn't like 10 times farther than that. It's 1,000 times farther than that. If low Earth orbit is the front porch, the moon is across an ocean, and then a continent, and then another ocean, which has the Earth, from the perspective of the Artemis astronauts, looks so dang small. But nobody goes to the moon alone. Not the 4 people in the capsule, and not the thousands of engineers and machinists and software people and sewists and budget analysts and welders and launch controllers who got them there earlier either. You might be tempted to draw the line of the American and Canadian taxpayer, but I think even that is too limited. This is a civilizational endeavor for the benefit and enjoyment of all, and boy did we enjoy it. And what they brought back, their experience, insight, and photograph, is all of ours to share. It probably should have been photographs. I don't know. But it's printed, so it doesn't matter now. So spend some time with these photos this year. Let them do their slow work. 4 humans went farther from home than almost any other human ever has. And the only reason they got there, the only reason you're looking at these pictures at all, is that a lot of competent, thoughtful, hardworking people together made it possible. That's a thing worth a year of your attention, which is a nice thing to have. Sorry, I got a little choked up there. So on January, we have launch, right? In February, we have a shot of the Earth from inside the capsule. You can see the actual machinery and the like, which is a good shot because it shows you, hey, this is a man-made situation. And now we have the Earth way over there, and also a little bit of sun, and a little bit of stars. At least it looks like Earth. Pretty sure it's Earth. So we haven't gotten to the moon just yet. And if you'll notice, this shot here is also down here as well. Now we have May, another Earthrise, a different Earthrise. It was actually shot more like this, but this orientation is pretty awesome. Oh yes, and it even shows you where they're at distance-wise. So here is May, that's Venus, and that's the moon, occulting the sun. They're basically watching, they're basically in eclipse mode. You can see stars, which is fantastic. And you have June, which is Launchpad again? What the hell? Interesting. A different Launchpad. I don't remember why that's the case, but okay. This is from Earth, liftoff, distance and moon, photographer NASA. Now we're back to being on board, and now we have essentially Earth set. Because now Earth's way down there, and we have all of the moon here. This is from to the moon, about 41,000 miles. Now we have yet another shot of Earth and the moon, and also essentially the aperture window. Now, my birth month, the thing that I wish I could see with my bare fucking eyes. An eclipse. Like, to me, this is the best photo. Second best. I know what the best photo is. But it's still in so many ways the best photo because it's close to what we can experience here. Now we have yet another kind of Earthrise. But now Earth is quite a bit further. This is also one of their furthest points away from Earth. It's October, November, just the moon. And I said, yeah, that's the bottom. There's that big crater, which I cannot remember the name of because there's so many names to so many things in space right now. Then, of course, December, the best one. Us. All of us. Half of all of us, roughly. So, this is Africa. Right here, down here is Spain. So, essentially, you would flip it. And now you've got the Atlantic Ocean. You've got Brazil and the Southern American continent. You can see a little bit of Florida here. A little bit of the Yucatan Peninsula. Some of the... Sorry. Some of the Caribbean. Those clouds are mostly in the way. Right here... So, there's a little bit of a flare here, so that's definitely off the window. But this section, this larger area, there's still a little bit of questioning. Hank Green has, generously made this, and I bought this, and it was like, I want to say something like $50. I don't remember exactly how much. He had a conversation with the photographer, whose name I cannot remember. Hold on. It just says Artemis Crow. It doesn't say who specifically. Although we have different dates. So like 1972 on the 7th, Apollo 17, 1972 Apollo 7 on the 8th, and the 9th and the 10th, Apollo 8 and 68 on 21, 22, 23, 24, nothing on Christmas. But this is actually the backside of Earth. It should be darker, but because of camera changes, ISO and the like, and because of moonshine, you get a pretty good photo of Earth. And then we have just a little bit of atmospheric refraction of the sun. We also have some aurora in the south, technically the south, and the north. And interestingly, where's it at? Pretty sure you can see it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Over here, so roughly halfway, I'm almost certain in this area, if it's not here, then it's maybe over here. There is a series of these images that when you play them quickly, you can see reflections. It looks like little lights just kind of blinking. And what that is satellites. It shows us, oh, and also this photo has been dubbed, I think, the Cosmic Shore. But it's still a point of contention whether or not this brightish, dimmish spot is actually moonshine, or if it's light, because like there's this spot right here that's definitely a reflection from the actual window. It could be that all of this, though, is actually coming from the Earth because there's more images that are similar that don't seem to have the same sort of telltale sign. Now we have January and touchdown. January 28th. Like, I'm a nerd. I'm a science nerd. I'm a space nerd. I'm a sky nerd. I'm a water nerd. When I took my oceanography class, I aced the fuck out of that thing. Because despite the fact that I was exhausted and homeless, I still found myself learning about it. It's just fascinating. Everything about how the world and just stuff works. has always been a fascination. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so very disappointed, although not as terribly so this time around, because I had more activities to help dull the pain, as it were. It's why I'm upset that I didn't get to see the eclipse. Sure, I knew that there was a lower probability, and for whatever reason, I was just strongly gravitated towards Iceland. Still, I hope I get to see it in person. I don't want to see it on camera. It's not supposed to feel the same. Just even the brief periods of time, that, like when I was in Buffalo, for instance, I felt the temperature variation more so than I did when I was in Iceland. Because Iceland was already relatively cool, so the nighttime didn't really feel that much cooler. But like witnessing so much of the world around you as the sun is closed off. And I mean, also, and this is kind of a big point for me, like, Iceland hasn't experienced a total eclipse since like 1950 something. I can only imagine what it would have been like for that country if they knew for a fact that the skies were going to be clear that day, and the fact that as the day progressed, the sky stayed clear, and that everybody who lived there could just like take a break, walk outside, and for 1 minute experience literally the same sort of exultation that the rest of everybody, foreigners alike, who were showing up to go see this. Like every video that I see of people experiencing the eclipse, it's not just people just staring at the fucking sky. It's people experiencing life. And I don't know what that is. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do that. To not only experience it for myself, but to experience it with others. Experiencing this like awe, this moment of awe, both the dread and the beauty of it. And so now I'm a fucking chaser because I can't see the damn thing. But I probably also would be a chaser because I could. And I don't know how I'm going to afford any of this shit. I've never known, to be honest. And I'll probably figure something the fuck out. I don't know. I can't go next year because it's too close and it's going to be too costly. But yeah, I mean, it's just like... And who knows? What happens when I do see it? Do I then, have the same experience that like when you finish reading a book and you're like, well, fuck, now I'm depressed because I don't have that anymore. It's like the dog chasing the car. If the dog catches the car, then what? I don't know what'll happen to me when that happens. I'm not sure. It's frustrating. And I knew pretty much when I landed that I knew the eclipse wasn't going to happen. But it doesn't matter knowing beforehand. It's the fact that it still just wasn't. And again, not just for me, but for everybody who showed up. Now, there's a lot of people that I talked to that were going out to the West Fjords. And apparently they were the ones that got lucky. Because there was a very small section, and coincidentally, the one place where you could have the longest possible occultation, the longest possible eclipse, was the one place where it was visible. So if I was willing to drive a car by myself in a foreign country, in an area that I don't know fucking anything about, to go see it, then maybe I could have done it. So if I'd taken more risks, perhaps I could have seen it. I don't know. Have fun.